Hey guys, it's me, and this is my 3rd year anniversary video. Before I start, I should tell you that my first video with its 2 Family Guy episodes will not be out until within the week. I apologize about that, but that's due to the fact that I've been with family and friends, and I've had work, so it's been pushed to the side, but don't worry, that is definitely going to be done pretty soon. Anyway, with this 3rd year anniversary video, I've done another PokePasta, and this one is called Wally. In this story, from Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, this character named Wally, who is like a brief rival you'll see here and there in the game, who's really friendly, you should know, and he apparently dies in the story because of his issues, like his health issues, and everyone blames you because of this, even though you had nothing to do with it. I'll get into that later, and, yeah, just stuff happens. At least it didn't go for the whole cliche of, you know, blood and gore like many other stories have done recently. I think one major problem I have with this story as a whole is pretty much everyone blaming the main character, you know, the protagonist, saying, oh, well, he looked up to you, it's all your fault, all that kind of crap. When in reality, you know, the parents could have done something about this, like, if they know this kid has issues, why did they make him go, basically let him go out to these other places? I mean, he was in a cave at one point, and I'm pretty sure that would affect his breathing and whatnot. I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, I know you're supposed to push yourself, but even when you know that, you have your limits, you gotta be very careful. You gotta be very careful not to go in certain places or certain areas that could affect you, that could, you know, kill you. And everyone's blaming the protagonist. It's like, oh, well, he looked up to you, it's all your fault, oh, you get out, you disgust me. I mean, granted, the last part of it was the protagonist being Wally again when he was dead. Like, he was doing this kind of thing where he was a ghost, and he was, you know, doing another Pokeball and stuff, and, for some reason the protagonist said, screw it, I'm gonna beat him again, so that was actually pretty fair for them to be upset about that, but, yeah, I mean, the rest of the story is kind of confusing. I mean, it's a good story nevertheless. I'm glad that it didn't resort to all these other cliches, but at the same time, it's just kind of weird that like, the main character in the story had the game, and just suddenly started doing this other thing, you know, like showing Wally's death, even though that never happened in the game. And it's not like this game was hacked or anything. He kept it in his sock drawer for years, and you think it would be because of, like, unintentionally hacking into some other new part of the game, like maybe it got dirty and that's what made it do that, but the protagonist clearly stated that it was in like a sock drawer and it was away from dust, so it worked properly. So it's just kind of weird that after gaining I gained a good feeling, like I want to play this game again, and I just watched this movie, so let me play this game again. Stop playing, oh crap, now it has all this other crap in it. You think it would just work properly, but it's just kind of weird that suddenly it just works like that. You know, like you accidentally unlock something brand new. And I kind of rambled on here. I guess what I'm saying is, it's been great being out here for 3 years, and I hope for another 3 or 5 or God knows how many more, because I really enjoy these videos. I apologize for the lack of videos, like that Family Guy video I got just done recently. That was like 52 minutes, but it took forever because by the time you get home from work and pushing carts, you don't feel like doing anything else. You just feel like going to sleep. So I apologize for the lack of videos. I'm finally catching up, doing more Creepypastas within the week, and hopefully I'll get it done by the 18th, but maybe a bit later, depending on how quickly I can get it done. I'm doing a Shrek review, not a movie review, but a game review to celebrate 15 years of the movie. You'll see it pretty soon, and it will have some interesting history behind it. Yeah, that's about it. I'm sorry for rambling on and on. I'll probably show in the beginning of the video before I start rambling, like, you can just skip this part if you want to, just to get to the pasta. Like I did with my Family Guy video in a certain part of it. But nevertheless, I hope you guys enjoy this pasta, and, yeah, that's about it. I know I said that like 3 times, but, just been a great 3 years. Never thought I'd get this far, to be honest. The experience I'm about to recount to you is quite short, unfortunately, but I remember it quite vividly. You remember Wally, right? The cute little boy who served as your rival in Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald? Yeah, he's easily one of my favorites. He doesn't seem to have any emotional hang-ups. He's not arrogant, he doesn't constantly call you weak, he's not a hyperactive annoyance, and he's not trying to deceive you even for the smallest amount of time. He's just a sweet, innocent boy who just wants to be a good Pokemon trainer. He was the one I hated to beat, but at the same time, I loved it. The way he accepted his defeat at my character's hands with the vow to try harder made me feel like I was a motivator of some sort. I wasn't beating him mercilessly, I was helping him get better. It had been quite some time since I played my Ruby game, a few years at least, but I never once misplaced it. As I suddenly got the urge to play it one day after watching the Jirachi Wishmaker movie, I found it neatly tucked away in my sock drawer in the exact same corner in which I had left it. It wasn't even dusty. The cloth protection of a bunch of unused socks kept it safe from any damaging elements, which in turn answered the question as to why I had placed it in my sock drawer in the first place. I located my DS. I misplaced my GBASP quite a while ago, not that it mattered, and quickly inserted the red cartridge, excited to see my old completely unbalanced Pokemon team. I selected my save file and saw that I had saved right in front of the Pokemon League, which was good considering I planned to challenge them straight away anyway. Rather, since I was there, I figured I'd pay my favorite little rival a friendly visit before doing anything. First Wally, then the League, then I'd see if there was a chance I had been lucky enough to find my game on the day I could find Mirage Island. As I stepped away from the League entrance, following the zigzag path downward, I stopped a moment and opened my party. Normally, when I leave a Pokemon game alone for a while, I find out that the last thing I did was trade to help out my Pokédex on my other games. It certainly wouldn't have been the first time that I entered battle completely unaware that I had a party full of level 5 Rattata and Magikarp. It's a bit of an embarrassing situation to say the least. They were all there though. As I said, painfully unbalanced. But they were all there just as I had left them. I was relieved actually. This meant that Ruby was the game I hadn't abused the Pal Park with. It must have been Emerald. But that's not really important though, and I'm getting off track. My party was there, so I didn't have to waste a few minutes in going back up to the League to switch out my dinky little under-level Pokemon for something a little better. So I began my little trek to see Wally once more. As I entered the cave, he was staying there waiting for me already. I couldn't remember if that was what he was supposed to do or not. As I said, it's been quite a long time since I have so much as thought about this game, but I was excited to talk to him either way. Whether I felt guilty for being him or not, I really loved seeing him. I approached him and pressed A to talk, but rather than have him say something in green before challenging me to battle, the trainer's spotted theme played for a second or two before the screen flickered, signifying a battle had started. But just as quickly as the screen faded to black, it faded back into the normal cave scene once more, only Wally was no longer there. I shrugged it off, thinking that years of playing it had actually put a little wear on the game's inner workings. Not that I'm actually techno-savvy enough to really know how that would work. I started to walk away, thinking that I tried to see if this glitch continued in the Pokemon League. If it did, I was out of a game. I'd either have to reset or get a new one. Either option would kill me. Infernal was the best Pokemon I have ever had. Though before I could take a single step past turning around, the Pokemon nav rang. I didn't think I could function properly in caves and the like, but since I was kinda close to the exit in open air, I suppose it made sense for it to work. I'm not entirely sure how to explain it, but with the little hiccup my game just had with the battle scene and the face that I'm almost positive that small bit of dialogue wasn't scripted, I just felt uneasy. Nevertheless, I got out of the cave and selected Deros to fly to Petalburg City. When I got there, I could definitely tell something was off. The whole area looked foggy, and the colors looked as if they had been washed out, leaving the normal cheery little town looking rather dismal. Even the music was different. Just slightly though. The tempo had been noticeably slowed, further adding to the incredibly dreary effect. I explored the area a little, going in the few buildings surrounding the Pokemon Center, just to see what else had changed. For one thing, no one was around. The area was completely devoid of all NPCs, but it didn't take me long to figure out where they all were. I walked up to Wally's parents' house to find 7 NPC sprites lining the path to the door. 2 columns of 3 with one standing to one side of the door. All of them were black, and my uneasy feeling only grew. Curious, I spoke to each of them. None of them seemed happy. I knew what was going on now, but I didn't want to believe it. But as I walked into his house, I was forced to. A couple more NPCs dotted the small room as a small black coffin rested in the middle of the area. Wally was dead. I spoke to the other NPCs. Most only repeated, "It's all your fault." But one, which I believed was his mother, explained things a little better for me. By now, I felt absolutely terrible. Wouldn't you? So I did as I was told and walked up to the small casket. As soon as I touched it, the music stopped, and a blank dialogue box popped up. It stayed there for a few seconds before a single word was slowly typed out in it. A battle started, a real one this time, rather than the teaser I had experienced earlier. My heart sank as Wally's sprite slid into the opposing trans spot. His skin was pale, his colors were washed out, and he looked quite sad. But what hurt the most was the opening battle announcement. He sent out his first Pokemon, his cherished Lavender, who also looked upset. I assumed this would be the trend with his Pokemon. I sent out Inferno. Sympathy urged me to throw this battle, to make his last one a good one for him, but the competitor in me said to give it all I had. Guess which one I listened to. Inferno plowed through each and every one of his sand Pokemon, knocking them flat with one attack each. As the battle ended, Wally slid back into frame. His sprite was mostly transparent, and said, When the battle screen faded, Wally's mother approached my character and pushed him back and away from the coffin. As she shoved me out the door, instead of appearing outside the house, the screen cut to white and began rolling the credits. As the names of those involved in the production of the game faded in and out, the white was replaced by an ending scene. Poor Wally's funeral procession. NPC sprites slowly paraded through Petalburg, the tiny casket at the center of the crowd. My eyes watered as they slowly left through the right exit of the city. The camera followed as they stopped at the small patch of grass where Wally had caught his veer routes. When they stopped, they all turned to face the screen. Just for a second, but I can almost feel the judgment. As they turned back to the casket, the screen faded to white and Wally's trance sprite faded in. Beneath it were 3 words.